Hey everybody, I thought I'd talk about my home a little bit because we're starting electricity and I rely on electricity a lot. Where I live in Mawa here, we just have electricity lines coming in. That's the only utility to the neighborhood. We don't have natural gas, we don't have water, we don't have sewer. So we rely a lot on electricity. It would be nice if I had a real automatic backup generator like maybe some of you guys have. But I just have a gasoline backup generator. I'll show you that in 1 second. So coming in through the neighborhood is the electrical lines, and that just connects over here to the home. Through the trees here to the house, down the house, through the meter. This is how Orange and Rockland keeps track of how much energy I use. Everybody has one of these. Keeps track of kilowatt hours, which is an amount of energy, and charges you for usage. Ground wire going down there. We'll talk about that later. Through here. So here's my main panel here. Should be one of these somewhere around your house. Maybe you have more, like a sub panel. Depends on your home, how old, whether or not you have extensions built or things like that. So up here on the top we have the main breaker. This basically is like a switch. It opens on and off the main breaker to the whole home, and it's rated at a certain amount. So if you were to draw too much current, this would automatically trip. So if you were to overdraw, which could be a few things, all which are bad. But even just if you were to try to draw too much electricity from your home, you could heat up the wires and cause a fire. So it's rated to basically shut off should you try to draw too much current through whatever wire should be connected to everything. Anyway, the main breaker feeds this whole panel here. So these are just basically different loops of the home and provide electricity to different parts of my house. You're probably familiar with the electricity going off in just part of your home. Maybe somebody used, like a hair dryer, curling iron, vacuum, air conditioning's on, things like that, where it just shuts off part of the house, and somebody had to come down to the panel and flip it on and off and turn on that loop, if you will. Most of these are 110 volts, but you might notice some of them are doubled up. So with just electricity to the house, I don't have natural gas, so my dryer is electrical, and it runs on 220 volts. We have well water, and that pump runs on 215 double breakers, so 220 volts. Air conditioning, jacuzzi, a couple other things are doubled up for 220 volts. And again, these are all just safety loops, providing electricity, basically like emergency switches. Some older homes might have fuses, or older service, as they say. And a circuit breaker, these are circuit breakers, sorry. Fuses are more of a mechanical thing where they're rated to melt if you try to draw too much current. So it's a safety protection that's disposable. These are more reusable. Anyway, let's take a look. So this is my main panel here. This secondary panel is not a sub panel, it's a switching box. So what it does is, should the service to the whole neighborhood go out or to my home, I can use my backup generator here and connect it to this box here. And this allows me to take off some really important things like my heating system, my refrigerator, basically some stuff in the kitchen, my water pump so I can still have water. Again, I just have electricity coming into the house here. This is pretty neat. It takes chemical energy, the gasoline that you put in the top tank there, and it basically is a small engine, so it converts the chemical energy into mechanical energy with small explosions like in a cylinder head. So a small engine, and it rotates basically a large magnet system and coils of wire which induces electricity, and we'll talk more about that when we get to electromagnetic induction. So this one is rated, I think the 5500 is the wattage there. So I can run with this. I've had no problem running the heat and keeping my fridge going, and a bunch of lights. I have mostly LED lights everywhere, so the draw on those is very low, so I can keep lights on just about everywhere. and still keep my main things going: refrigerator, heat, water, stuff like that. Anyway, black box to the left there is the Verizon cable, if you're wondering. Anyway, main panel feeds all sorts of stuff. All right. So we rely on water pump basically. So I mentioned before the water pump is a double breaker, and basically my well is right over here. And this is the well head right here, and this goes down, I think it was about 400 feet, but the pump itself is only actually, I think they hit a good water table at about 250 feet, I believe. My whole property drops off, I think, according to the zoning, or sorry, what is that called? The map of my property, I forget what you call that. Anyway, drops off, I think, about 125 feet from the highest point to the lowest point down there. And I think the water table they hit was something at about 250 feet. So we pump in water from the surrounding area. So electricity needed to pump water, and I could show you in the basement how that all happens. You might notice a few odd-looking outlets around the house in the kitchen or in the bathroom. These are ground fault interrupt outlets, and it's another safety device in which it opens up the circuit or protects you in the event of a short circuit or should you be getting electrocuted somehow. So these should be around by code within a few feet of anywhere where there's a water supply in the home. So kitchen, bathroom, and perhaps laundry area. Stuff around pools and jacuzzis, anywhere where there could be risk of electrical shock due to water. So it just triggers faster than the breakers out in the garage and gives you just another layer of protection. Okay, I guess somebody in the house is using water. This is basically on the other side of the garage. It would be up there. So this is my well tank. The pump itself, I rely on electricity to pump water up this height, give it, potential energy. Fills up this large tank. I'm not sure the volume, but this gives us pressure all the time. So even if there's no electricity, we have a certain amount of water and pressure for a little while. Not enough to really do too much. But this allows you to wash your hands and do a few dishes without the whole system kicking on again and providing on-demand water pressure. So the pump really pressurizes this tank with water, and that's how we use the water. So again, electricity. What else do we rely on? So heat. So we rely on oil as well. With electricity, the only thing coming into the neighborhood, a truck delivers oil to two massive tanks over there. But we do rely on, and that's actually what heats down in this furnace box down here. The oil actually burns. This might kick on actually, but burns and heats up a few different loops of water. I have 4 different zones here, so I rely on electricity to open and close these zone valves, and they provide heat to different loops of the home. This system actually runs all year round because one of these loops actually goes into a massive coil in this tank, and that's what heats the hot water from my house. So I definitely rely on electricity for keeping not only water coming into my home and pressurized to come out my faucets, but also to heat my hot water. So again, to heat the hot water is really the oil energy, but I need electricity to circulate all that and keep track of it all. I have a pretty sweet system here that keeps track of everything, but again, relies on electricity. Also, the no washing clothes, because again, without electricity, wouldn't have water to provide the water and no electricity to run the motors. So again, you guys probably have natural gas going to your house, and again, I only have electricity. So I have a 220 volt breaker upstairs in that panel, one of those double breakers, and it connects here. So instead of natural gas heating up and drying your clothes, I have electricity. So 220 volts appliance, and again, that's what dries the clothes and heats it up, electricity. So another backup thing here in the basement is I have a wood pellet stove, which is pretty awesome. But again, I need electricity. The fuel for heating the home or heating the first floor here is wood pellets, which are, I think they're about $5 a bag. I usually get about 30 or 40 bags because I enjoy it. It makes tons of heat. You fill up this hopper up here, and wood pellets go down there. An auger, a big kind of threaded rod, pulls them forward and drops them down into this burn box, which of course needs cleaning. But it slowly feeds them out, and it's pretty sweet. It's a nice renewable energy source. The wood pellets, a whole bag really just makes like a little cup of ash, not a lot of smoke or anything or output, and you get a ton of heat. It really bangs heat. But again, I rely on some electricity there to basically do some air circulation. Otherwise, and the auger to feed the burn box here. So again, need the electricity.